Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. You may call me Dr. Kennard. I'm going to talk about morality today. Knowing what's right and what's wrong, and executing what's right and what's wrong. In other words, performing the good in real life. I'm going to be talking about that because there's some new research out from Professor Phil Zuckerman, who's been on the show a couple of times. I don't know if you knew that. Professor Phil Zuckerman was on, did a Best Advice Ever episode. And we also talked about his book about atheist morality. Both of those are videos that you can see on this channel. Other stories we're going to talk about. Another COVID conservative dead. Mississippi and poison control. And was President Trump booed? Was he booed? Because he said, hey, maybe you should get the vaccine. I was going to say that was my Freudian slip right there. My Freudian slip was saying, I was going to say, Donald Trump was telling people to get the virus. This is not true. Donald Trump told people to get the vaccine and he got booed. So many stories to cover today. And of course, I'll be talking about why I'm here and not at work, though I treat this as a job. So many things to cover. Let's do something funny, everyone.
Today I have added a fourth circle to my pre-pooping ritual. As before, the first circle is to verify that I do in fact need to poop. The second is to check for gremlins and men with beards and hats. The third is to re-verify my need for pooping. And now the fourth is to honor my newly deceased toy. Stuffed llama, rest in peace. I didn't mean to shake your head off.
Good morning. I'm going to check out the chat and see how everyone's doing this morning. Grand Farmer, glad to see that you're here. Simply Secular Dave from the West Coast. Robert X, thank you for reminding me because I am horrible at asking people to like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. So many things. Thank you again. Dee Parks, good morning. Yes, Tobin Templeman. Bonnie, hello. Jess. John Hudson and Scott Duke, hello. Yes, Robert X, good point. We might not always know what is right and wrong, but we don't make something that is wrong into a right and hide it behind a holy book. Indeed. Yes, Dr. Mordecai, dog poop jokes. That's how we're leading off today's show. So why am I here? Why are any of us here? Random chance, no grand design. I'm about to bust into a rhyme. I'm going to stop that right now before I start freestyling. Look, I was going to start my job. I was going to start onboarding at my new job. I got a phone call last week, as some of you know. Well, I got an email saying that, all those hours, that job we promised you, by the way, we don't have that. Probably, maybe, perhaps. But we're going to let you know. The HR department was going to let me know what the deal was. This is a long story, short. So it's Friday morning at 9 a.m. I'm supposed to be starting on Monday. Today, right now, I'm supposed to be doing training. And I got an email. Well, I sent an email at 9 a.m. on Friday saying, hey, I haven't heard from you. Can you give me some guidance on what I should do? And he said, don't worry. The HR person emailed me back and said, don't worry. We will tell you what's going on by the end of the day. 5 p.m. comes, no email. So I emailed the HR person, said, hey, just want to touch base with you. I'm assuming I'm not going in for training on Monday. I get an email back on Saturday at 3 p.m. apologizing and basically the HR person admitting that it's a mess and they don't know what's going on. So no work for Andy. The funny thing about this, and some of you may find this funny, ironic, is the fact that I gave up a job to take this job. So now I have no jobs, no 9-to-5 job. That's hysterical, everyone. So I was basically, for a few days, I was Schrodinger's cat in the fact that I didn't know whether or not what was going on. and I felt like I was in some kind of Kafka-esque trial situation where I was at the subject of forces beyond my control. So I was Schrodinger's cat, being a defendant at Kafka's trial. Wow. Okay, that was a long explanation. Look, I got a couple of other announcements. I have Dr. Josh coming on Saturday this week, 11 a.m. We're going to be talking about his book. What's his book? I just finished it, by the way. I'm quite excited by this. I'm happy to. This is the name of the book, The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament. He's going to be on, like I said, this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. The link for the book is in the description below. I'm spending some time this week to write down some notes so I can ask him intelligent questions. And that's why it takes me so long to get authors on this channel, because I insist I need to read the books before they come on and write up notes, and that takes time. Do I have another author after Josh Bowen in the shoot? Yes, I do. Can't talk about that right now. What I am going to talk about is that I have a best advice episode coming on with Dr. Andrew Spitsness. Dr. Andrew Spitsness is a psychiatrist. He's an atheist, and he writes the blog Secular Cinephile on Patheos Non-Religious channel. He is a brilliant person, and that is going to be premiering tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. He's a great guy. I always feel honored when he comes on. He does great work, everyone. Yeah. Okay. I see Dee Parks. Why, thank you. Tossing in a coin to my Witcher since his demons attacked. Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dee Parks. The girlfriend and I watched the first episode of The Witcher during the pandemic. Liked it. I'm a big Michael Moorcock Elric fan too, so there's definitely some crossover there with Elric of Meltdown and The Witcher. Oh, luckily Andy is independently wealthy. I don't need no stinking job. Of course not. Right? Who needs work? Yeah. Did I just send out an application to another job this morning? Yes, I did. Before the show started? Absolutely. All right, everyone. You want to do, that's all the announcements. I already sucked up 7.5 minutes of the show. Maybe we should do something important and look at some memes. What? Is that important? Oh, laughing is important, everyone. Worst urinal I've used, blows, piss everywhere. A friend of mine, Nathan Timmel, author and comedian, stand-up comedian, shared this on his Facebook page. And I thought, I got to share that. Because someone really drunk tried that. Someone who was blackout drunk has done that. This is a little disturbing. I don't know what you would call this creature. Let's take a look. You got the Cookie Monster, obviously the Godzilla body. And is that Grover on the tail? This is nightmare stuff, especially if you're a Cookie or Tokyo. All right. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. We haven't even seen anything about cats, so let's do something cattish. What I did on my summer vacation. Oh, that cat. I envy that cat. Why? For having a summer vacation and for being able to sleep for as long as it does. Incredible. Well done, cat. A+. Though I think most of the cats in that class probably did the same thing during their summer vacation. Dee Parks, I saved 10% of my income by not going to church yesterday. Job well done, Dee Parks. Job well done. All right, first story, everyone. Once again, from Professor Phil Zuckerman. This is by Hemant Mehta, the friendly atheist. Links to everything in the description on the most pressing issues. Atheists show more moral decency than the religious. Now, we know that. If you are a regular here on this channel, the evidence for the fact that atheists, by and large, are more moral than the religious. It is patently obvious, but now we have some numbers because Professor Phil Zuckerman does research on atheists. Not because he's an atheist, right? Sociological research, like pleasant research, like showing that we're not just a bunch of baby eaters. Let's just see the story. Who are more moral, atheists or religious people? Maybe you think that can't be measured, since what counts as moral is subjective to begin with. But there are some areas where the moral thing to do ought to be obvious. Should you try to save lives during a deadly pandemic? Of course you should. Should you care for the environment? Yes. Why wouldn't you? And yet, some of the most vocal, conservative, church-going religious voices on those issues are on the wrong sides of them. Writing for Salon, Phil Zuckerman, a professor of sociology and secular studies at Pitzer College and author of What It Means to Be Moral, Why Religion is Not Necessary for Living an Ethical Life, writes on atheists, not nuns, but atheists are undoubtedly coming out ahead on the question of morality. Just consider the pandemic. I feel like I should look around to see if I actually have his book here at the ready, because I have an atheist section here in my personal library. And it's somewhere here, and I don't see it immediately. I should have gotten it out, but it's a great book. If you have a chance to read it, please do. This is from the article. COVID-19 is a potentially deadly virus that has caused and continues to cause dire woe. Surely, to be moral in the face of such a dangerous disease is to do everything one can within one's limited power to thwart it. No moral person would want to willfully spread it, bolster it, or prolong its existence. And yet, when it comes to the battle against COVID-19, it is the most secular of Americans who are doing what they can to wipe it out, while it is the most faithful among us, especially nationalistic white evangelicals, who are keeping it alive and well. Taking the vaccine saves lives and thwarts the spread of the virus. So too, the sheltering in place as directed and wearing protective face masks. And yet, here in the U.S., it is generally the most religious among us who refuse to adhere to such life-saving practices, while it is the most secular who most willingly comply. For example, a recent Pew study found that while only 10% of atheists said that they would definitely or probably not get vaccinated, 45% of white evangelicals took a position. You could say the same thing, Zuckerman argues, about so many other issues facing Americans. And there's data to back it up in terms of who supports helping refugees, affordable health care for all, accurate sex education, death with dignity, gay rights, transgender rights, animal rights, and as to who opposes militarism, the government use of torture, the death penalty, corporal punishment, and so on. The correlation remains. The most secular Americans exhibit the most care for the suffering of others, while the religious exhibit the highest levels of indifference. Indifference is a very kind word. Indifference is a generous word. I'm not such a generous person. Maybe the super religious, because if you're not acting against those things, you are complicit in them. So their indifference is complicity in the evil that goes on. Checking out the chat. Oh. Jesus would not be a Republican as a socialist, more likely than not. David Paul, how are you? Checking out the chat some more and more. Oh, Biscuit is confused about why Daddy is on the computer. So my girlfriend, the cat, our cat, loves to sit and chill with the girlfriend while she does work. And I guess you're watching me, and the cat is confused. Jesus would have supported BLM. An interesting question, an interesting statement. Let's see. Hey, what's up, KCA Randy? Well, I am a dad. I have 2 children, right? Bipeds, and apparently I'm a cat daddy too. So yeah, everyone. I haven't read the whole Salon article. Am I going to read the whole Salon article that Professor Phil Zuckerman wrote about why or how atheists are more moral than the religious? Yes, I will. I'm going to ask him to come on the channel again, too. I'm going to ask him to come on the channel for a quick interview and just to talk about the article. We'll see if he's a busy guy. It's the beginning of the school year. I don't know what he's up to, but I hope he can spend 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and talk about the Salon article. Hey, Phil Lister, glad to see that you're here at the southern tip of Sweden. I was reading over the weekend about Sweden's policy about COVID-19. Is this a digression? This is a digression. Because Sweden didn't do any lockdowns. They didn't do any mask mandates. They suggested things. They made suggestions to people. They did shut down schools early on. But their death rate is much higher than the other Nordic countries. Sweden's policy on COVID has been an abysmal failure. So see, that's the thing. There's so many stories to cover in the course of an hour. It's difficult to figure out which ones I should really focus on. But Sweden's policy on COVID-19 has been an abysmal failure. Let's see. What's the next story we're going to be doing? Oh, this guy, everyone. This guy right here. I saw the picture of him and I said to myself, man, that guy. My first thought was, this man looks like he is constantly constipated. And then I thought, well, that's because he's so full of shit. I go, wow, good point, Andy. Good point. Now, who is he? Is he an evil person, or was he an evil person deserving our ridicule even in death? I'll let you decide, everyone. A South Carolina GOP leader who called face masks an illusion has died from COVID-19. Another plague rat falling victim to the virus. Let's check out the story. The GOP leader of South Carolina County died from COVID-19 after pushing false statements about the disease and downplaying restrictions like mask wearing. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Presley Stutz, chair of the Greenville Tea Party, had been a vocal skeptic of coronavirus-related guidance and safety ordinances released by national health agencies. Last year, he called face masks an illusion, and in a Facebook post, falsely claimed the people in the U.S. have a 99.999% chance of not dying from the Wuhan virus. A little something else, because I just don't read one article about these clowns. I typically look through a couple of articles. This gentleman seemed to target, or he did target, non-Trump Republicans within his state, within his county. He helped get rid of them. He helped purge the party to make sure that it's pro-Trump. The story continues. He also cheered on unvaccinated doctors and nurses and criticized vaccination mandates. Mandates and coercions do not work, especially when they come to us from a government that has repeatedly lied to the American people time and time again. He wrote, Presley, here comes the Schadenfreude gravy, everyone. Here it comes. Presley, from an ICU hospital bed, continued to downplay the coronavirus. After being admitted into the hospital in early August, he wrote in a Facebook post that COVID is nothing to fool with, and in as much as possible, it is going to take you to take the best precautions for you and your family to avoid getting it. We've covered stories here about COVID conservatives in the ICU who are asking doctors, can I get the vaccine now? And it's like the doctors have to tell them, it's a little late for that. You see, the idea of vaccines is that you need to take them before you get sick. About 2 weeks later, Presley called the virus a hell on earth in another post. When you have to take every single ounce just to get your next breath, you know you're in the battle for your life, he wrote in that Facebook post. I implore you, please pray that God moves mightily in my body. Isolated. Don't know how much longer I can endure without your prayers. Seriously. Presley's final Facebook post, published on August 13th, just days before his death, said he was going on a ventilator. He promised to wake up from this short rest and be back in the game soon. I'm going to hazard a guess that if this man had gotten over, if he had survived the virus, I don't think he would have had a change of heart. I don't think it would have turned him into a pleasant human being to be around. I think he still would have worked to undermine the United States of America and support white nationalism. That's what I think, everyone. I don't know. Maybe you have different thoughts. Maybe you're kinder than I am. Gonna check out the chat. Hey, remember Sammy Jenkins? What's up? Remember Sammy Jenkins? Let's see. Jesus is not my daddy. I am not your daddy, Grant Farmer. I am not. You have not shown up on my 23andMe results. I'll tell you that right now. I'm socially distanced by going to sea. You know, if you want to avoid the zombie apocalypse or plague, there's something to that wisdom right there, just going out to sea. Yeah. I don't know why he died. I said thoughts and prayers. Yeah. Maybe because thoughts and prayers don't work. They don't work. Vaccines work. Thoughts and prayers do not work. Tesla Ranger, glad to see you're here. Was his doctrine virology written in crayon? I think so. I think that's what it was. Digital Hammurabi coming here. Where is that? Just saw him. Taking notes on the book. Not only did I finish the book the other day, but I'm taking notes on the book so I can ask you somewhat intelligent questions. Maybe, perhaps intelligent questions. I don't know. All right. Did I cover everyone? I think I covered all the chat. This is the halftime Tummy Rub show where I'm told I should ask people to hit the like button. Maybe subscribe to the channel. And hey, you'll notice that there are no ads. There aren't going to be any ads in the conversation I have with Dr. Josh. There's going to be no ads when I drop down that video from Dr. Andrew Spitsness tonight at 8 p.m. The Best Advice Ever episode. Just no ads. The channel is supported by you, by people who contribute to my Patreon account, and by, of course, YouTube members. So, you know, that's what I have notes to say. I should say these words. And seeing that I just said those words, you want to do something fun? You want to do something funny? Let's check this. This is hilarious, by the way. I laughed way too much at this.
There's a cry across the heartland, a yearning for the days gone by. And in little old Corden, Indiana, they're happy and they'll tell you why. They got butt drugs, they love butt drugs, butt drugs, butt drugs.
I love butt drugs.
I recommend butt drugs for everybody.
I can always count on butt drugs.
When I think drugs, I think butt drugs. For all my health needs, I turn to butt drugs.
You want hometown service and cheap hot coffee and liquor. Now that's the ticket. You can tell Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens exactly where to stick it. Butt drugs.
We love butt drugs.
Butt drugs won't let you down.
Free parking in the rear.
Look, if butt drugs doesn't put a smile on your face, I'm just going to stop right now. I'm just going to give up. Because that stupid butt drug commercial is one of the funniest things I've seen. Outside of cats doing things, right? Checking out the chat before we start talking about Mississippian ivermectin. I think that's how you pronounce it. Well, that's right. I noticed that Robert X, 20 minutes in the video, and still didn't hear the girlfriend in the background. That's the thing is that she is, you know, when I was on vacation, when we were on vacation last week, she was literally in the next room. And so she could say funny things or say what kind, you know, give commentary. But now I'm back in Studio A. I'm back here home. And, you know, there are doors between us. There are doors. Maybe I can work out some kind of system that we can open the doors open the doors, and then she can give commentary. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to talk to her about that. What's up? Jenna, Black Female Atheist. Hope you're doing well. And Kendra, I don't know if I said hello, but I should say hello. All right. I think I'm caught up to the chat. Oh, Mississippi. You know, I don't agree with everything that Sam Harris says. I always feel like whenever I talk about Sam Harris, I should say that. But he did do an interesting episode of his podcast, Waking Up, a few weeks ago. Maybe it's a month ago now. Basically a public service announcement. That's how he framed it, about COVID-19. And they talked about this drug, ivermectin. And, well, there's a story about it here. And you may have heard about it. Let me see if I can find it. Hit the right buttons. Nope, not that guy. This. Mississippi poison calls sore as vaccine skeptics turn to livestock drug for COVID-19. I'm going to give everyone a pause for a minute. Take a deep breath, center yourselves. Try to wrap your mind around this insipid, hard to believe, true story. Mississippi poison calls sore as vaccine skeptics turn to livestock drug for COVID-19. Oh my fictitious God. Let's check it out. Mississippi health officials are pleading with state residents not to take a livestock drug to treat COVID-19 as calls to poison control centers soar. Fearful Mississippians, skeptical of the safety of vaccinations, are shockingly turning instead to swallowing ivermectin, generally used to eradicate or prevent parasites in livestock. Pausing for drama right here and just rubbing. I'm just rubbing my forehead right now, everyone. You can't see it, but that's what I'm doing. All right, do not use ivermectin products made for animals. Mississippi's health department flatly stated in a Facebook post on Friday, animal doses are not safe for humans. I felt like I had to read that in the way that the person was typing it. It's like, I don't know why. I don't know why I have to tell people not to go to the tractor store, not to buy medication like ivermectin that is there to deworm animals for COVID. I could feel the frustration. All right, next panel, everyone. I think some people are trying to use it as a COVID-19 preventative, which I think is really kind of crazy, so don't do that. Mississippi State Health Officer Dr. Thomas Dobbs said at a press briefing Wednesday, you wouldn't get your chemotherapy at a feed store. You wouldn't treat your pneumonia with your animal's medication, he added. Just breathe, Andy. It can be dangerous to get the wrong doses of medication, especially for something that's meant for a horse or a cow. It's really important if people have medical needs to go to your physician or provider. This is the world that we live in. I heard something on Facebook that ivermectin is going to cure me, so I'm going to go. I did my own research by listening to my cousin's friend's nephew who swears by ivermectin, and now I'm going to the feed store to get some, as against to getting the vaccine. All right, next panel. Officials also issued an alert Friday to healthcare providers in the state concerning the increase in poison control calls due to possible ivermectin toxicity. At least 70% of the recent calls have been related to ingestion of livestock or animal formulations of ivermectin purchased at livestock supply centers, noted the alert. See, it would be difficult to believe the story, but it's true. It is a true story. Ivermectin can be deadly in large doses. Most callers to Mississippi's Poison Control Center had mild symptoms, though one caller was advised to seek further care due to the amount of ivermectin reportedly ingested. According to the alert, at least one person in the state was hospitalized because of ivermectin toxicity, the Mississippi Free Press reported. Though ivermectin is commonly used to treat or prevent parasites in livestock, Far smaller doses have been approved by the Food and Drug Administration to treat conditions caused by parasitic worms in people. Topical forms are approved to treat human conditions such as head lice and rosacea. But doses are vastly decreased from what might be used for a cow. The drug is not approved to treat or prevent COVID-19. Using any drugs not approved by the FDA to treat COVID-19 can cause serious harm. The agency warned the FDA issued its own warning against ivermectin use earlier this year after the agency noted multiple reports of patients who have required medical support and been hospitalized after self-medicating with ivermectin intended for horses. I don't know. Mississippi and Florida head-to-head competition about the race to the bottom. I think that's what those two states are doing right now. Checking out the chat. Tesla Ranger, point well taken. At least they won't have worms anymore. Indeed. All right. Checking out the chat here. John Hudson. Always fun to be around John Hudson. I don't usually buy meds or medical supplies, but when I do, I go to Junior's Feeds and Cattle Supply. Indeed. Death cults. That's what it is. It's almost as if you have a society that has limited social services, a limited social safety net, poor education, and this is what you get. This is what you get. Well, this is the problem. And, when you make medical care unaffordable, and this is right, when we don't have, see, I gave my little rant about supporting public health. And, I just want to say this too. Dr. Josh, I saw Dr. Josh on the Tang channel the other day, and I didn't realize he had a Canada hat on. Dr. Josh. Going to shame me about Canadian healthcare system on Saturday, maybe. Yeah, people self-diagnose and worse prescribed. Horrible. Yeah. Donna. Good horse sense. I see what you did there. I see the play on words. I know, Phil. I know the vaccine is bad, but the cow meds are good. Yeah. You want to talk about Afghanistan? There's so much to talk about Afghanistan. And we've touched on it a couple of different times here on this channel. But I'm going to show a video about the government, the military using U.S. airlines to help get people out of Afghanistan. This isn't really a Dunkirk moment, right? This is more of we need just a small amount of Dunkirk microphone. You're telling me I have to? People in Britain know what Dunkirk are. Commonwealth countries. People probably know what the Dunkirk moment was in World War II, right? Right. We probably saw some of the movie. Some of us saw the movie. Am I rambling? Thank you. Thank you, microphone. Let's talk. Let's see the video. And what's the name of this video? Oh, okay, so that's good. There was a gift from Big Zebra. That was a Canadian hat. Very nice. The hat is very comfortable. Cool. All right, so what's the name of this video that we're doing here? It is called, drum roll please. It isn't booze erupts when Trump tells Alabama crowd to get vaccine for COVID-19. Oh, that video is coming up. But this is the U.S. airlines help transport Afghanistan evacuees. From Reuters, as you can see, everyone.
The U.S. on Sunday ordered 6 commercial airlines to help transport people evacuated from Afghanistan, as Washington sought to step up the pace of departures of Americans and at-risk Afghans from Kabul. The Pentagon said it called up 18 commercial aircraft from United, American, Delta, and 3 other airlines. The airlines would not be flying into Kabul, but collecting passengers from temporary locations around the globe. The move highlights the difficulty Washington is having in carrying out the evacuations following the Taliban's swift takeover, and marks only the third time the U.S. military has employed civilian aircraft. Thousands of people remained outside the Kabul airport on Sunday, hoping to be evacuated as Taliban gunmen beat back crowds. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told CNN on Sunday that the U.S. has, quote, secured the capacity to get large numbers of Americans safe passage through the Kabul airport and onto the airfield, but gave no details. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told CBS's Face the Nation that the U.S. is trying to ensure safe passage to the Kabul airport through what he called a working relationship with the Taliban.
They are in control of Kabul. That is the reality. That's the reality that we have to deal with.
Asked if the Taliban takeover also poses an increased terror threat, Blinken said the U.S.'s ability to combat terrorism has increased since the attacks of September 11, 2001.
If this threat reemerges in Afghanistan, we'll deal with it.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday will meet virtually with the G7 leaders to coordinate policy, discuss evacuation efforts, and humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan.
So if I bang on the table, it'll fuck up my mic. Thank you, Dr. Mordecai. Can you all hear me now? I said, if you couldn't hear me, if you can't hear me, then people in the chat would be telling me I can't be heard. I want to tell you what when I heard this story, and, of course, I've been following the Afghanistan situation over the weekend, and it reminded me of what happened to we're going to talk about World War I for a minute and why the Russians mobilized so quickly in World War I in 1914. One of the reasons why there were a bunch of miscalculations in 1914 that the Russians had been shamed previously in the Balkans. So the Russians felt like they had to really go, and I'm going to use the term, balls to the walls to protect Serbia. So because the Russians felt shamed by a previous fiasco, they rushed into a situation that really helped cause World War I. And that's just one of the dangers that we face here with Afghanistan here in the States, is the fact that if the military, if our leaders feel shamed by this thing, then they may feel like they need to rush into another situation that will not benefit us. So that's just one of my concerns. Talking about Afghanistan can take up forever. It can just take up forever. But that was just one of my thoughts. I thought it was a bullet pointable thought that I hadn't heard anyone else talk about. So I thought I would leave it with you guys. Well, I'll see you later, John Hudson. Take care. NATO is really impressed by you. Open mouth and look of wide open shock. Yeah. I don't know why it's difficult, or why it was difficult to work together with our NATO allies, because even though there's 2,500 U.S. troops in Afghanistan, there were, I think, 7,000. The number might be a little bit higher, but 7,000 sticks in my head. 7,000 NATO troops, 7,000 troops from other countries. And not coordinating that effort, people should have seen it coming. The Australians saw it coming. They moved their embassy a while, like a week ago, I believe. But yeah, not coordinating with your allies. Poor move indeed. All right. You want to do something lighter? You want to talk about something lighter? What? Wild Eden of the Chattering Order of St. Beryl. What's up, Wild Eden? All right, let's do something lighter. You want to feel good? I want to feel good. You want to talk about Donald Trump getting booed? Oh, yes. Donald Trump, he made a monster that he cannot control. And that is the anti-vax movement, everyone. He made a monster that he cannot control. Republicans have been asking him. It's like, hey, Donald, can you at least, we're getting to the midterms, can you at least just suggest to people to get the vaccine? But even in the mildest way, that was just a fiasco. Let's take a links in the description, everyone. Former President Donald Trump was booed by some of his supporters at a Save America rally in Cullman, Alabama on Saturday night after he suggested that they get vaccinated against COVID-19. I totally believe in your freedoms. I do. You've got to do what you've got to do, Trump told the crowd. But I recommend that you take the vaccines. The former president then told his supporters that vaccines are good and once again encouraged them to get a shot. This suggestion was met by boos, as can be heard by a video shared by Vox journalist Aaron Rupar. We'll get to the video, everyone, in a second. Trump's speech follows the news that his allies are trying to get him to run a pro-vaccine campaign, the Daily Beast reported. According to the media outlet, Trump was initially reluctant and worried that promoting vaccines would be unpopular with his supporters, and help President Joe Biden. Yes, Trump has previously praised vaccines, saying that they were saving the world, but has repeatedly said that people should be able to exercise their freedoms. Forbes reported the former president got vaccinated. For those of you who've been asleep for the last year or two, the former president got vaccinated at the White House in January 2021, though the American public didn't learn about it until March. So it's one thing to hear about former President Trump getting booed, but it's another thing to actually hear the boos yourself. So that's why I have this lovely video. A lovely video. And what is it? Boos erupt when Trump tells Alabama crowd to get vaccine for COVID-19. And here it is. I'm gonna beautiful full screen. And let's get to the boos, everyone.
Take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But you got, no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? I'll call up Alabama and say, hey, you know what? But it is working. But you do have your freedoms. Vaccine, 3 vaccines in 3 months, in 9.
I'm going to pause it again. I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't know if you heard the boos, but let's go back a little bit.
Months. And actually, I'll tell you, it was 3 days less than 9 months. And it's great. And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But you got, no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine.
It's tough when a crowd turns against you, everyone. You ever been on stage and the crowd goes against you? You know, Anthony Jeselnik has this out. Whenever he would tell the funny way, you know, Anthony Jeselnik, the comedian, whenever he told a joke that the crowd didn't like, he would just say, I thought you guys are cool. And that was his out. Checking out the chat. Boo indeed. Boo. Let's see. Imaginary God. Yes, Imaginary God is here. I don't think I said hello to Imaginary. Trump is still a loser. He is. He is booed by his own people. Booed by his own people. See, you can't, and his political instinct, you know, I just like Donald Trump. I've spent hours making fun of Donald Trump, talking about his playbook. I am surprised that the Republicans were able to convince him to tell people to get the vaccine. Because Trump is typically Trump, right? Shoots from the hip. I don't know what made Trump decide to do that, especially since Trump has been doing well with the primaries. You know, he has supported a couple of different candidates. We talked about this too. I think it was in Ohio 16th district. His candidate for representative there to go to Washington, you know, won handedly. which just shows you that Trump still has a lot of power to get his people into office, to get them to win these elections. And so, if Trump is still so powerful, and if he knew or if he guessed that his base wouldn't like it if he told them to get vaccinated, I just don't know why. It was just an error in his judgment, more or less. And I'm not advocating for Trump. And I hope that made sense to everyone. I hope that made sense. That's right. Freedom to die. That's right, Dee Parks. President Trump, it's like we just came full circle, everyone. We just came full circle with the fact that we talked about Phil Zuckerman's Salon article, first story that we covered, about how atheists are more moral than the religious, by and large. And now we're here talking about the death cult of Donald Trump and evangelical Christianity. Full circle. I believe in your freedom, said Mr. Take the guns first, then due process. Tesla Ranger. Well, that's a good point, Grandfather. Trump is easily manipulated by people he wants to be like him, who wants to like him. All right. What stories did we do? What stories did we do today? We talked about Phil Zuckerman's article in Salon, how atheists are more moral than the religious. We put in some evidence there. We talked about the COVID conservative in South Carolina, dead from COVID. Mississippi and ivermectin. Mississippi, just stop it. Just stop it. And airlines helping ferry people or to get people out of Afghanistan in that fiasco. And Donald Trump booed by his own fans because he actually suggested that they should get the vaccine. Oh, that doesn't put a smile on your face. I don't know what does. You want to do something funny? We should do something funny. We're going to wrap up the show right now. And let's do something funny before the goodbyes. Oh, you're saying, Andy, why aren't you telling people about the after party after show? Good point. I like that. So the after party after show is basically an open room for atheists, humanists, people who are progressive, political progressives. It starts at 10 a.m. The link to go on the panel is in the description if you want to come on. We talk about anything and everything. Whatever comes up, it's basically just us talking. And it's a lot of fun from 10 to 11 a.m., everyone. So, Joe asked, you read that, Poe? I read a lot of Poe's, a lot of satirical articles on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. Joel Osteen drowned in a in-ground swimming pool full of $50 bills, maybe $100 bills. That was the Poe. I posted it the other day. Got some traction. All right. FDA approved a vaccine a minute ago. Yeah, that was, so up until now, of course, the vaccines have been under emergency authorization. And that's good. Thank you for putting that down, Donna. So the FDA just approved a vaccine, the vaccine a minute ago, officially, everyone. All right, let's do a funny video.
Let's go boop some animals. Boop. 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 Boop.
Maybe it was more cute than funny, but still, it should put us, it should make you feel a little better, right? Regardless of the stories in the news cycle, everyone. Checking out the chat one more time before we go. Jessi Bear. I just got the notification. If you hit the bell, I don't know if you hit the bell, do you automatically get notified of all the videos? I don't know. I think that's how it's supposed to work. He just died of cuteness, right? Let's see, but it's only vaccinated for the girlfriend. states about the approval, the FDA approval, official FDA approval, but it's only approval for people who are 16 and over. Good point, the girlfriend. Thank you. All right, I'm going to drop the thank you video for, well, this is true, Tesla Ranger. Boot my beak and I will take your finger off. Who gets booped? Exactly. All right. I'm going to be dropping the thank you video for YouTube members and for patrons. Can't do it without you. Once again, no ads on this channel, everyone. And you're right, Scott. You can't be fine. It's kind of funny. That's right. So I'm going to see you at 10, hopefully. I'm going to see you at 10. And for the after show. Take care. Jessi Bear, I hit the bell, but YouTube will do this occasionally to me. I'm sorry to hear that. Shakes fists at YouTube. Shakes fists, plural, at YouTube. See you at 10, everyone.